Welcome to the iPad Possibilities Podcast, Episode 39, Crosswords. Before we get started, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this podcast, the It's On My Way application for the iPhone and the iPod Touch, available in the App Store now for $2.99. Grab it today to quickly plan out your afternoon errands and support this podcast in the process. Thanks again, It's On My Way, for sponsoring this podcast. Well, welcome to the iPad Possibilities Podcast. I'm Tim, and I'm the host of this show. And before we get started, I'd like to just mention to everybody, if you haven't seen yet, Netflix has updated their iPad app to include video output. So it now works with composite component and VGA cables to actually display your Netflix video on external devices or projectors. I've tried this out with my Pico projector, and it works great. I just hook it up, and it instantly recognizes that I've got a display connector connected to the dock, and it starts outputting that signal to my Pico projector. And the quality looks really good. It looks really fantastic. And a couple of just hints and suggestions when using that. If you touch the screen at all, it'll stop the video playback, and that's because it'll switch it to the iPad screen. And the reason they do that is so you can basically switch around where you're at in the video and kind of adjust playback settings and things like that. But once you go away from that, it'll go back to the external display. And I guess it's an okay way to do this, but I really prefer the way Air Video does it, where you are actually able to turn off the screen entirely, and that's something that is not possible with the Netflix app. I hope they update that in the future, where they kind of model after Air Video, where you can actually turn off the screen and do all sorts of things like that. But a great job, Netflix, for getting that out, and now we are just waiting on ABC Player to update their app with video output, and this is really a great update. It's changing the way the iPad can be used and changing it more and more into that media pad I've been talking about for some time. So I'd like to just mention to everyone that Netflix has been updated and grab it today. So something I've been doing more and more as I'm getting ready for these music episodes that are coming out later on in the next week and the weeks to come is I'm actually asking developers for some promo codes to apps that I can test out and review to let you guys know my experiences with them. And I'll be having an additional promo code, hopefully, for most of these apps I review that I can give away, as I'm doing with this episode. So for this episode, it's on Crosswords. It's a universal app for, the iPhone, the iPod Touch, or the iPad. And it's been updated for the iPad, so it works great on the iPad, and that's how I'm reviewing it. It works on the iPhone as well, but I do have an extra promo code for this app. So the way I'm going to be doing this is basically the first person that emails me at iPadPossibilities@gmail.com with the title Crosswords promo, I will send you the promo code for this app. So if you want a free copy of Crosswords, it's a $10 application that works on all your devices. Just email me at iPadPossibilities@gmail.com. First come, first serve. There is one available. So with that said, let me get into the actual review of the application. As I said, it's Crosswords, and it's available in iTunes for $10. And it works on all of your iDevices, except the iPod, except if you have the Touch. But what it gives you access to is a wide variety of crosswords. And it includes New York Times classic crosswords, Philadelphia Inquirer, Thinks.com, Wall Street Journal, The Herald, a bunch of different crosswords, I think around 20 in all, that are updated every morning as the newspapers come out. So it gives you access to all of these crosswords. And the great thing is you never really run out of content, because each day you have new crosswords to try out and do. And it gives you a great user interface to do that. And you're able to switch on or off if you want to be notified when you're getting things wrong, as it'll show it red or upside down when you're messing up. And that's one way that you can actually cheat. If you actually turn that on, you can go through all the letters and find the right words. But that's what I had to do for some of the puzzles, as they were quite difficult, and I'm not the best crossword puzzle player out there. But it gives you basically unlimited content, which is really fantastic. For the $10, you have access to all of these puzzles. And actually on the iPad, if you go to a Safari site that has a .puz file, you can actually download those files and load them up in the Crosswords app and start playing those crossword puzzles directly on that app from Safari. And that's a great little thing they've added that you can't get on the other devices just yet. So they have new puzzles every day. They have a great interface to do that. It's a very enjoyable way to do puzzles. And it's something that I think crossword puzzle players will be very interested in checking out. I've looked into kind of similar apps, and there's nothing that really compares to what this app provides. And that is just a very simple, very elegant way to access all of your crossword puzzles. It will, as you're working on a letter, as on a question, and it'll tell you the across question as well as the bottom, going down question. And it just does it in a great way. They've got a great interface for both vertical and horizontal. They've designed that very well, so it doesn't really matter which orientation you use the device in. And as I said, it's just unlimited content, which is really the great thing about this. And one thing I always check out are the iTunes reviews. And one thing I did notice is people are loving this app. It's gotten a total of 1,875 star reviews, 497 4-star reviews, 197 3-star reviews, 141 2-star reviews, and 214 1-star reviews. So overwhelmingly, I've noticed people are exactly as I'm finding, very enthusiastic about this app and are finding great joy out of it. So if you are a crossword user, I'd highly recommend this app. It is now on my home screen and will be there for some time as I play more and more crossword puzzles. And the reason I really do recommend this app, I have to mention that I did get this app free of charge. And just take that with that being said, I did not pay for this app, but I think it is worth the $10. The interface is really fantastic. It tells you basically where you're at in the puzzles if you're working in multiple ones at a time, with this progress bar in a recent tab, and it tells you how many puzzles you have access to. Right now I've got access to 94 puzzles, and you can actually go back in time and download puzzles from the past. And once they're downloaded, I believe you can just take it offline and start playing. And it is just a really wonderful user interface. That's something that's been blowing me away, is just the user interface is so good. And that's why I believe the reviews have been so positive in the past. And another great thing is, yes, you can put this on your iPhone as well. If you have multiple devices, you can just load that same app. That same $10 goes a long way going on all the apps. So that's Crosswords for the iPhone, iPod Touch, and iPad, available in the App Store for $10. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, if you email me, the very first person to email me with the subject line Crosswords promo will get a free copy of this app. So I would like to thank them for giving that away and for giving me a copy to review on this show. And if you would like any apps to be reviewed or talked about that I haven't seen yet, please email me and I will do my best to email the developer to get a copy of that and possibly a promo for this show. So if you'll do that, that'd be great. As always, I really do appreciate your feedback. You can send that at iPadpossibilities@gmail.com and 209-542-iPad. Just send those feedbacks in. Both voice or text would be great, and it would be greatly appreciated. So that ends this episode of the iPad Possibilities podcast. Before I leave you guys today, I'd like to just mention some ways you can support this show. And one way, which is going to be even more supporting of yourself, is by becoming a premium member of the podcast. The reason that will be important in the coming days is I'm going to be having a lot more promo codes coming out. And even before these episodes air, I will be posting on the RSS feed of that podcast. And if you just go to the website, there in the lockdown premium version of this page, I'll be announcing, hey, I've got a Crosswords promo available. So you'll early access before even the app people know about it, that, hey, you can get a free copy of this app. And because there are less people seeing that, you would have first dibs on promos as they come up. So the first way and best way to support the show is by becoming a premium member of the podcast. It's only $2 a month, and that will pay for itself by all the promos you'll get and things like that. And what the premier membership gives you is Monday, Wednesday, Friday episodes of the podcast, just like the application folks. And you'll be able to download those episodes anywhere that you can download episodes, based in iTunes and all those other places. You'll also get extra bonus episodes, both audio and video. You'll get extra promotions and things like that, and all sorts of other goodies. And it's only $2 a month. So if you just go to thepossibilitiesnetwork.com, and you'll find the iPad Possibilities Premium page there, and you can find out all the details about the show there. I should also mention those shows are ad-free. I redo the show, a separate version of the show for those folks, and it is ad-free. So it's another benefit of being a premium member. You can also support this show by purchasing the iPad Possibilities Podcast application in the App Store for $2.99. And with that app, you get the show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also in the application are special video episodes not available anywhere else. You can also support this show by just going to thepossibilitiesnetwork.com. We are linking up with Audible and some other partners there that you can take advantage of, including Don McAllister's Screencast Online. So if you go to the Possibilities Network and go to his site through us, that'll help both yourself out and us, as Don McAllister has some great screencasts for you Mac users out there. And finally, simply going to iTunes and reviewing and rating the show is of great benefit to everyone as the visibility goes up of this podcast so others can discover it as you have. So thanks again for your time and support of this podcast. And until the live show, this is Tim Chatton of the iPad Possibilities Podcast.